Hey guys, we want to welcome you to today's podcast, Bridge Building Solutions. I am really excited about every opportunity that I have to come and talk to you, to use this simple little platform to share my heart, to have conversations with people, to talk about challenging subjects, because we need help. You know, we got a lot of problems going on in this world. We have a lot of division, we have a lot of angst, and we need healing, and we need to learn some things. We need to be able to learn how to talk about some things that are ultimately going to help us all take steps towards each other in our lives. You know, I've been pastoring in diverse spaces for over 30 years now, and I wrote a book recently. Actually, the book launched right at the beginning of COVID last year, but it's called Navigating Diversity in Our Most Segregated Hour. And I wrote some things on the back of this book that I just want to share with you a little bit today. But it says, here's a question, and I want you to think about this. Why do race issues still exist in this progressive age? I mean, you would think if anybody could get their act together, it would be us. We have so much knowledge available to us. We have so many progressive ideas that are manifesting out there, but yet we still don't seem to be able to get it together. Here's another question. Why are people still afraid to engage in unifying conversations? Well, one of the reasons is because we don't know how to do that. We don't have the language to do that, so we avoid them. And then here's a question: is racial healing really a possibility? These are good questions. And then how do we come together for lasting change? And ultimately, I don't care what area of life it is, whether it's your family, your marriage, or churches, or a racial division, or whatever. We've got to figure out some new things to ultimately bring about the healing that we need. I've got a quote by Albert Einstein that I want to read to you. And he made this statement. He said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we use to create them. I want you to think about that. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we use to create them. You know what? We need to look at, we need some new perspective. We need to look at things differently in order to bring about the healing that we need in our lives. So that's kind of what Bridge Building Solutions is all about. Today, I am really excited because we have a special guest with us today, Nick Malstead, who is the co-founder of the MOVE Project. In fact, I want to bring Nick in here with us right now, and I'm going to add him to our stream here. Hey, Nick, how's everything going?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
I am really excited about having you as a guest today and talking about the MOVE Project. And I want to give you a little bit of an opportunity to tell us about how in the world something like this got started. It's about 11 years old from what I understand now. You founded this in 2010?
Yeah, that's right. Yep, we got our start in 2010.
Wow. So in full disclosure here, I got to tell you that Nick is my nephew, and I'm really proud of this young man and all that he is doing in this world. And our conversation is going to go well beyond the MOVE Project today, but today it's about the MOVE Project. And you know, there's probably a lot of people that are listening to this podcast now, watching this right now, that probably have not ever heard of the MOVE Project. So I want to give you an opportunity to tell us about it. Tell us about how it came about and what are some of the priorities of the MOVE Project.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm always excited to talk about the MOVE Project. So yeah, like you mentioned, we got our start in 2010. It came after some discussions with my brother Sam and I, where we had been in the corporate setting, been involved in some outreach projects and coordinating some opportunities for people to get involved in the local community for those that we work with. And we just had this stirring that we needed to continue to do something more. And out of that was birthed the MOVE Project. And when we got our start, we were doing work in the Des Moines area, particularly around homelessness issues, partnering with the local shelter, getting people engaged, facilitating outreach opportunities and things like that. And then in about 2015 is when we took our work overseas and began to do work in Chapasi, Ghana, which is West Africa. We And we landed there because we've since now adopted 3 of our 7 children from Ghana. And when we were going through the adoption process, we knew wherever we adopted from, we were going to stay long term and give back and really ensure that we had that connection both with our family and the country of origin for 3 of our kids. Yeah, so that's how we landed in Ghana in the first place, which a lot of people are curious about.
What are some of the things that you have accomplished there, started doing there?
Yeah, it's really important for us to really have a clear vision about what we're doing there. You know, we've seen so many people really all over the world, but specifically in on the continent of Africa, but in the country of Ghana. So many people coming and going, installing a clean water well, and then, you know, never coming back. And so we took all of those lessons to heart, and we started with clean water. They had no access to clean drinking water. And as a matter of fact, the first meeting we had, they walked us out a couple hundred yards from where we were meeting, and they walked us up to the ravine. And they said, look, the government has trenched this ravine to collect rainwater for our cattle, but we've been petitioning for clean water for years and haven't been able to get it. And that really drove the message home to us that this wasn't just a glamour project by any means, but it was a real need. And so we started with water, and as we were planning for that, we knew based on our discussions with them that education was next. And their children didn't have access to formal education. And when we were talking through that, it was very, very important to them to get access to education for their kids. And when we were talking about that, they let us know that only like 6 or 7 people had ever gone on to secondary education, which is the equivalent for us of about middle school.
Most of the people listening to the podcast or watching this are probably, you know, it's so hard for us to relate to this. I mean, to not have access to clean drinking water is just, I mean, it's just really almost impossible for us to wrap our heads around. And education is the same. Mm-hmm. To think that there are not educational opportunities available to our children, and yet this is a reality. And I think sometimes, you know, in this nation, we don't realize how many people do not have access to those basic needs: drinking water, education. It's just amazing to me. How do you maintain that relationship with them? How do you continue to build that relationship? I mean, we're on the other side of the world, and so yeah. How did they respond to you being so open to engage them in that process? And then what? How does the Move Project? How do you guys, you know, build that relationship, maintain it, and continue to build it?
Yeah. The response was actually kind of a mixed bag. So when we were meeting with the community leadership, of course, that group was incredibly excited. They'd never had outside interest in their community. It's rural. It's very impoverished. There's nothing really for them to give. And so they'd never had anybody come in and say, how can we help you? Yeah. So that response was amazing. When we got the school up and running, it's actually kind of a funny story. So we built the school, which took us way longer than I was hoping it would. But that's how it goes. But we had the building open. And so we held our first community meeting because the school, and we presented this to the community as well before we started building, but the school was going to serve the children of Chapasi, but it's also intended to double as a community space. So a place where the community can come together, can gather and use it for whatever they want, whether it be like a town hall or just a gathering place where everybody can meet up under a roof. And so we had the building, and one of our first group meetings, I was very, very excited. I mean, it was like tremendously amazing to me that that we had pulled this off. And I'll never forget the first person. So we give this big presentation, and everybody's happy, and so then we ask kind of for a Q&A session, and of course it's got to be translated twice to me, advice back to them. So makes for an interesting discussion. But I'll never forget the first person raised their hand and like, okay, great, so what? And I just remember thinking that, like, I was stunned. Like, what do you mean, so what? But they were so concerned with their kids. Really what was being communicated is like, great, we have a building, but where are the teachers? What happens if we can't afford tuition? And will they be fed? Like, they had all of these very real concerns that were being communicated. And so it taught me a really good lesson. And that is to always make sure we're asking questions. You know, something might be very clear to me, but it may not be to somebody else. And so be open to questions. Definitely be open to critique and criticism. We've gotten that along the way, but it really allows us to ensure that the needs are being met in a way that is meaningful to that village and the people that live there. And so it was really interesting and little unnerving in the beginning, but navigate that. We want the village of Chapasi to know and continue to reiterate the fact that, like, the Ghanaians are the face of the MOVE project in Ghana. It's not something I'm doing. It's not something our other co-founders are doing. We're supporting and they are leading. And that's really important to us. Yeah. And that's helped us maintain that relationship. So it's not that I have to be there all the time in person for things to be done or for, town halls to be held or for meetings with the local chief to be held. They have our Ghanaian representatives over there. And they were the first ones that they met in this whole project. And so we've been able to maintain those relationships very well because they're not waiting for me to come. They've got somebody right there on the ground who is leading the charge.
Tell us a little bit about the school. Here we are 11 years after the beginning of the MOVE project, and the school is up and running. Tell us some of the demographics of the school and maybe what you've got going on. And I know you're right in the middle of another fundraiser, and that's part of the reason that I wanted to have you on here today, because I want to help get the word out. What a great opportunity for people to partner with you. So tell us up about the school and maybe tell us a little bit about what's next and project that you have going on.
Yeah, perfect. So in 2018, we opened the MOVE Project Academy, which is a primary school. So it's about the equivalent of pre-K to about 5th or 6th grade here in the United States is about the equivalent of our primary school. So we opened that in 2018. And due to the space we have, we opened it up to the kids living in Chapasi, which was our initial commitment. And slowly but surely over the last couple of years, we're now educating about 125, 130 kids every day, with no access to formal education over there. What we did in the beginning is we separated the classrooms by age, but essentially everyone was learning the same curriculum. Everyone was learning regardless of how young or old you were. We started everybody out at about a kindergarten curriculum. And then over the last couple of years, obviously the older kids are just exploding with knowledge. And so we've begun to differentiate the curriculum based a little more age and grade appropriate for them, which has led to this new problem of needing more space. And so our original school is 7 classrooms big. And now that we've also begun to group the older kids together. So we have our 5th and 6th graders together. We have our 3rd and 4th graders together in the same room. And now, because they're beginning to differentiate to a more grade appropriate level, we need more space. So we are right now in the middle of raising funds for a second wing of the MOVE Project Academy. It's going to mirror the first one. So it's 7 classrooms big. And what we're going to do is we're going to use 5 classrooms for daily classroom learning for the older kids. And then we've actually partnered with a nonprofit in Ghana, and we're going to use one of the classrooms for our first ever library. And we're really, really excited about this. We have books over there now. They're stashed in the principal's office, and so we loan them out. But I am so excited, and the kids are so excited to get a room dedicated to books. And then I mentioned earlier, we use the school for more than just the school. So one of the things that we're working on is continuing to open up the school after regular school hours for English classes. And so what that allows the adults that want to do is to come learn English. English is the national language in Ghana. And with this being a rural agricultural village, they have to take their own crops to market. And if you speak English in the market, you have a better opportunity to speak with a wider range of people. And if you don't speak English, you're sort of at a disadvantage. And so that's one of the things we continue to work on with the community, as well as setting up these English learning classes. And so that this new space will help us kind of expand that as well.
Well, that's incredible. And I'm sure even with this pandemic, with the food crisis in so many situations, it's all the more important. But, well, I really appreciate you coming on here, Nick, and telling us about the MOVE Project. What a great opportunity for all of us to get involved in and partner with the great work that you're doing. We just appreciate the heart that you have for this, and are excited about the future, and what a incredible blessing this has become and will be in this community in Ghana. So I wanted to thank you for sharing that. And I want to remind everybody that if you'd like to get more information or make a contribution, you can go to the moveproject.org, visit their website. You can subscribe to their newsletter and be kept abreast about some stuff that's going on, and also hopefully make your donation there.